Okay, guys, it's 8:05. I think we'll start. First of all, I'll just give you a brief introduction about myself. I'm Tanashka. I have done my graduation from Lady Shri Ram College, and I am an alumni of TISS, School of Human Ecology. I did my master's in clinical psychology like 100 years ago from now. So pretty old than all of you guys. But anyway, uh, so this is going to be an orientation session about School of Human Ecology and Masters for Social Work and Mental Health. So anyone else who has joined for any other course, this may not cater to you. So you can leave right now because this is specifically for mental health. All right. Okay. So first of all, let's see some of the myths which are there related to psychology. First of all, people think that people who are not from honors, that is, who are not from psychology honors, may not get into the course. I was from BA program in Lady Shri Ram College. I was not from psychology honors, and I did not find it anyhow more difficult than other people to get into the course. They are more than happy to take you into the course, provided you have a decent knowledge of psychology, you know what you're talking about, you have studied well in your graduation. There are chances and there are many people who are there in BA program and still they know much better, or they have fared much better than people who are in psychology honors. So don't think if you're not from honors, until and unless you complete the minimum number of papers which you have to do to get into the course, you are at equal footing as anyone else. And then people think that there is this myth which goes on that if you have not done psychology internship, these people will not take you, and these people will cross question you about that, that if you were so interested in psychology, if you really wanted to take psychology, why have you not done psychology internship? Again, I did not do any psychology internship. I got in. There may be questions regarding why you have not done psychology internship, but just tell them that I am very interested in psychology too. I did not get the opportunity to do internship at that particular point of juncture. But considering that TISS has a lot of fieldwork opportunities, I would be more than interested to utilize that opportunity over here. Just be very confident about what you're saying. Look very interested into the course. You should know why you are pursuing the course. You should be very clear about it. They just want your clarity of thought. You should first of all be able to convince yourself why do you want to get into the course before convincing those people. And trust me, people say interviews are difficult, and I have seen many people getting out of the interview hall crying, but that is just when you are not prepared. If you are prepared, they'll be more than happy to talk to you. And then again, coming to gap year, they don't consider gap year to be any negative. Again, until unless you are very thorough with your basic sources of psychology, you are very interested in into the course, a gap year doesn't matter. The last one which I would like to talk about is borderline score in TISSNET. So if you think that you're clearing TISSNET by just 1 mark margin, or if you're just, for example, if the cutoff is 54, and if you're getting 54 only, so you think that you won't be able to make in. I have seen a lot of people who were there at the borderline score convert, and a lot of people who were much above the cutoff score not to make it in. So don't think that if you're at the borderline score, it would make any difference to the chances of getting in. Again, I was at the borderline score and I did get in, right? So what is the panel looking for? What kind of students do they want in the class? So obviously the professors you'll get in TISS, they are the only ones who take your interview. So they can handpick the students they want to see in the class or they want to interact with in the class. As I was saying, people say that interview is difficult and the TISS panelists, they grill you and everything. One thing I would want to be very blunt and clear about is that forget other professors. The professors which you are dealing with over here are psychologists themselves, and they deal with celebrity clients. They are one of the best psychologists our country has. So don't try to act over smart in front of them. Don't try to twist and turn them, because they are much older than you. They know much more than you. They have a lot of experience. So just be honest. If you don't know anything, just tell them I don't know. There is no harm in saying I don't know. Instead of just twisting and turning the question, just be very, very clear that, and honestly, it is no mistake if you don't know something. It's completely all right. One person can't know everything. So earlier there used to be this myth which used to go on that you need to twist and turn around people. Just no, just tell them I don't know. However, sound and come out as a very inquisitive student. For example, if you don't know something and at the end of the interview they ask you, and they generally ask you, do you want to ask us anything? So just ask them, can you tell me the answer of the questions which I was not able to answer? They'll be more than impressed at this. I know this one person, there was this one guy who at the end of the interview asked, so tell me, how did I do? How much marks will I be scoring? Don't do that. Just ask them if there was a very particular question which you were very interested in and you were not able to answer that, or you think that there could be something better that the panelists could add, just ask them. Secondly, you should have a decent knowledge of psychology. So this is not an undergrad course. This is a master's course. And as soon as you go there, you will be bombarded with a lot of knowledge of psychology. There'll be a lot of subjects that you will have to deal with, consider it pathology or family counseling studies or etc. etc. So there will be a lot of subjects that you'll have to deal with. So you need some basic knowledge of psychology. Even if you don't, you have some time, read your basic books. If you don't have a lot of time, just read the NCRT, that is the 11th and 12th standard book. And if you have a little bit more time, I would suggest go for Barrel. But be very, very clear about your basic knowledge of psychology. Very, very important. Be very thorough with the concepts. You should know, they may ask you to differentiate between certain concepts. For example, what is very basic concepts only. For example, what is negative reinforcement or what is positive reinforcement? What is the difference between operant conditioning and classical conditioning? These are very basic questions and every psychology student must know the answer to these questions. So study them very well. You won't have any issues in the interview. Thirdly, I would like to point out one thing. This many people don't know, but when I was there studying in TISS, there was this one friendly conversation which we were having with the professors who were there in the interview panel, and they jokingly told us that one of the panelists plays a bad cop, and the other one plays the good cop, and the third panelist plays like the neutral cop over there. So if one particular panelist comes after you and tries to get you that you're very slow in answering, or can't you think about it, or just tries to make you nervous in the interview, don't think that they're doing it purposefully only with you. They do that with everyone because that is what they are. That is what the role they are assuming. And those people are not like that in real life. That is just the role they're assuming for the interview. They check how much pressure you can handle, because when you go to TISS, it is no way like your undergrad. There's a lot of things which you have to deal with: field works, internships, case presentations, a lot of other subjects which you have to deal with. So there's a lot of pressure which one has to go through there in the institution, and the batch size is so small that the professors sometimes call you and ask you, why are you not there in the class? So you should know how to handle the pressure. You don't have to crack in the interview. Just don't crack in the interview. Graciously tell them if you don't know anything, and just smile and give the whole interview. They should see that you're able to very calmly and confidently handle the pressure. Lastly, very, very important, you should have clarity of thought about what you are saying. It should not be a flight of thought. I hope the psychology students will get the joke what a flight of thought is. So your interview should not look like a flight of thought. Rather, you should be very clear about what you're saying, and you should say it with confidence. And so, for example, if they ask you a question, and if you're not very sure about what you want to answer, just tell them, I need a few seconds. I just want to structure it in my mind, and they'll be okay with it. Secondly, a lot of topics in the Extempore now, they're asking about interlinking of psychology with everyday life. For example, what role does psychology play in climate crisis? Or how can animals be helpful in psychotherapy? So you need to develop a habit of linking whatever you are learning with your everyday life. For example, they can ask you, give me one example of classical conditioning which makes you noxious. Absolutely, they can ask you this one. So you can say that whenever the alarm bell, the alarm tone, whenever it rings, I feel like I have to wake up. So for example, if there is a particular song or a particular tone which I have set as my alarm tone, and even when it is not ringing in the morning, even when it is ringing any time of the day, I feel like I feel that feeling when I wake up. So that can be an example of classical conditioning. So you need to develop this habit of linking psychology with everyday life. Then there was this earthquake which was there in Turkey. So they can ask you something related to that. For example, what can be the first line of psychological intervention which can be done in an earthquake situation or in any situation of natural disaster? So just start interlinking psychology with everyday life, because in undergrad, we don't really do that. We just learn the basic concepts. But in masters, you have to learn how to start giving therapy to people. For that, you need a lot of interlinking. Start doing that. So what does a typical interview at TISS looks like? They will ask you a basic information about yourself. Prepare about yourself for example, prepare your introduction in 30 seconds. How will you introduce yourself in 30 seconds? And be very thorough with that. They may start with that. And that is a very basic thing which they start with. That is introduce yourself. So introduce yourself, you prepare that, and whatever you start with, whatever you prepare yourself, your introduction with, the questions are going to be related to that. So you can lead the interview where you want to, provided you practice enough with that, provided you give a lot of mocks for that. So that's what we do in TISS, TISSNET Prep. There are a lot of mocks which will be there, individual mocks which will be there, which will prepare you for that. There will be questions like, why do you want to pursue psychology, and other basic, as I told you, psychology related questions. And then one very, very important question which they will ask you is, why TISS? Because there are a lot of other colleges also from where you can do your masters. So you need to prepare this one very well. And being there in the college, I know that they are looking for the kind of people who will contribute to the institution. They just don't want people who will study and go and won't even remember college. They want people who can contribute to the institution. As in, they will love one person. I remember one of my friends had inducted this in her DAF, that I want to avoid fancy offers by corporates, and I want to go back to my hometown, which is a third tier city, and I want to set up my I want to set up my clinic over there, and I want to go to schools over there and work. So they were very impressed with that. That is how you'll be able to propagate name of the institution even further. They would want to know, what do you bring to the table? What new ideas do you bring to the class? So that is what they consider their contribution, the students' contribution to TISS. So be very thorough with this question. You should also know the history of TISS. They ask that in questions in the interview a lot of times, that when was TISS built, who built it. So TISS also shifted its campus. It was there, I don't remember exactly where it was, but the campus was there somewhere else, and then they shifted. So prepare that well. They also ask in the interview that, have you gone to the website and looked at the course content? How many credits are there, for example, for field work, or what other name of the courses which are there for every semester? So just go and have a look at that. And this socioeconomic problem of your region, this is one question they ask everyone. Everyone, no matter what, they'll ask this question, that what are the socioeconomic problems of your region? So just mug up the socioeconomic problems of your region. Be thorough with that. For example, if you're from Punjab, first of all, they will ask you what are the socioeconomic problems of your region, and then they might also counter question on that. For example, there was this one person from Punjab, and they asked her, "Tell me about what problems MSP has created in your area." So you all might know about minimum support price, and if you don't, read about it. So, for example, this is one thing I want to be very particular about. Be very thorough with the socioeconomic problem of your region. They will certainly ask that question. This is how you can prepare for the interview. Go through the preparation material given on the website. We have specific course content for every course, very meticulously prepared by our team. have a look at it, prepare through it. Extempore practice will be given by us. Interview, we will tell you what general interview skills you need to have. We will also help you with your DAF filling, and we will also help you with your mock interview. One-on-one mock interview will be there. I would take your interview. Other panelists also would be there. They would take your interview. Be thorough with what is going on currently in the field of psychology, what new developments are going on currently. For example, GPT came. So what would be, how can you connect chat GPT with psychology? How can you connect fourth industrial revolution with psychology? By fourth industrial revolution, I mean this artificial intelligence, machine learning, and all of that. How can you connect that with psychology? What role can psychology play in the Amrit Kal, which is going on for India and making India great by the 75th independence, which will come. So read all that, be very thorough with the basic sources. Now, why DAF is important? DAF is important because that will be a snapshot of your personality. All the questions they are going to ask you, that is going to be there from your DAF only. I, in my DAF, wrote something about a phobia, something about related to phobia of dogs. I wrote that I have this one friend who is so afraid of dogs that whenever he sees a dog coming, he leaves whatever is there in his hand, and he just freezes at the space. So they asked me about related to that only, panic disorder, phobias. They asked me questions. You can lead the panel wherever you want. So be very, very careful about what you are writing in your DAF, because that is where most of the questions are going to be there from. Once you fill your DAF, you need to be very certain and very thorough with whatever you have written in your DAF, because as I told you, most of the questions will be from your DAF only. And we at TISSNET Prep are going to obviously help you with your DAF. These are some of the topics which were asked in Extempore earlier. So you can see this human rights topic was asked in this social work for mental health. Other topics were there in School of Human Ecology, but more or less similar topics are asked. Impact of divorce on children, climate change and mental health. Climate change in mental health is a hot topic. Do prepare this one. Nutrition and mental health, animal and mental health. So we now know through research that a lot of episodes of depression which are there can also be due to deficit in nutrition. Nutrition deficit may also lead to depression. So that is also one thing you can look at. These are some of the topics, just an example, just to give you a glimpse of the topics which are asked. These are some of the common interview questions. This is basically one person's interview who was there from Punjab, and I have just sorted out the questions over there. You can have a look at the questions. They asked her, yes, as I can see over here, they asked her about her internship. If you have not done an internship, I already told you what you have to answer. But if you have done an internship, they will certainly ask you, what did you do in your internship? Where did you do your internship? What did you learn from your internship? And also, if you have done your research, be very thorough with the tools you have used for your research, the kind of sample you had for your research, what conclusions can you draw from your research. You need to be very, very sure about the research you have done, and you need to be able to explain the panel your research. So do that well. So this is the course content which we have created at TISSNET Prep. These are the topics which are going to be there. When you take the course, you can prepare through these topics. So this is, at the end, I would just show you how life at TISS looks like. I can assure you that these are going to be some of the best years of your life, especially in psychology. The kind of students you get in psychology, they're very sweet, very supportive. They will help you become a better person. They will help you overcome all your fears and anxieties. It's a small, very supportive batch. This is picture from my freshers at TISS. I don't know if you guys can spot me, but this is the picture. This is the earlier one which I showed you. This is combined clinical and counseling. So earlier when I did my course, clinical and counseling used to be separate. But now they have been merged, and one more school for global mental health one more course has been launched. This is my class for clinical psychology. So we have to present our courses to everyone, to the teachers which are there. Everyone in the class is there. Whatever we do in our fieldwork, we take one of the case and we present that case in front of the class. to our pathology teacher. And we are rated on that. So this is the picture after we have completed all our case studies. Everyone looks very relaxed. So this is so actually when we present our cases, because 20 students are there, or everyone presents their case, and then the teacher gives feedback on every case, so it becomes quite long. And our teachers were very sweet, so she treated us with this Dominoes. And one time when we had our pathology presentation, she also baked some brownies and brought them to the class. So teachers are very sweet. They will help you, they will guide you. And the research, your research guides, whoever are there, they will also take you out for dinner. Personally, they will take you out for dinner. They will ask you, they may even take you to their homes if they're very, very particular. So that's how life at TISS is. It is going to be amazing. So I added these pictures such that you can just, uh, be very motivated, because interviews are just around the corner, and you can be motivated about studying well. And just don't give up at this particular point of time. Keep going. The journey is beautiful. The reward is beautiful. You will be rewarded for all the hard work you have done. So just keep going. All right. So we are open for questions.
May I ask a question?
Yes, please do.
So you were talking about the kind of things and questions that they ask in interview, and as you mentioned that they put a lot of focus on your concepts, like they may even ask you the differences between two concepts. And you also mentioned a few books like NCRT, Barron, Cicerelli, etc. So can you tell me how deep is one supposed to go while preparing for the interview? Because like 1 or 1.5 months are left, so should we be actually reading the reference books? Like for example, Butcher for abnormal, and Barron for social psychology, Miniam and King for stats. So should we, are we in the best time to do each subject by reading the reference books, or should we just do it from the top? Like how deep can we expect them to go during the interview?
All right. What's your name?
I am Vidhi.
Okay, I can't see. So whoever starts asking the question, first of all, tell me your name, because I can't see the names over here. All right. Hi, Vidhi. As I told you earlier, first of all, do your NCRTs well, because that is the most basic any psychology student can do. And if you have done your NCRTs, you can move to higher textbooks. Uh, there is no limit to reading. You can read as much as you want. Obviously, there'll be no limit to reading, and even a day before you'll go to the interview, you'll be like, "Oh, I have not done this. I have not done that." Do as much as you can. What I'll suggest is do your NCRTs first and then do Baron. I think that should be enough. Rest, so they can ask you anything. And obviously, you won't be able to answer each and every question they ask you. You can just say, I don't know. But the minimum you can do is do your, I'm saying NCRTs and that Baron, because that is the basic gist of whatever we study in our undergrad. So at least do that. If you have time, you can move to other textbooks as well. All right, Vidhi?
Sure. Thank you.
Okay, so hi, my name is Kashish, and my question is that should we enroll for the course after the results have been announced for the first round, or should we do it beforehand?
If you think that you are near the cutoff, you might enroll beforehand, because obviously you'll get access to a lot of courses. But if you're not sure, I think it's up to you basically. If you think you are near the cutoff, you can enroll beforehand. And I think Talha will be better able to answer this question, so you can ask Talha about it.
And like after how much time of the result is the interview?
So last time they give us about 1.5 months or something. Is that right, Talha?
Yes, so 40 days, but what we can see from the calendar that we have, the timeline that they have given, though they have skipped many dates that has to be updated, but the last date that they have given that all the admissions would be complete is by 14th of June. So this is creating a little trouble ki how much time gap they would give after the results till they start their interview. So usually going by the previous years, when the admission was completing by end of July. So they have just made the calendar a month before now. So yeah, the previous years there were a gap of 40 days. So you can call it month or month and a half approx.
So as Talha said, probably this time we'll have a little less time than earlier. So gear up, guys.
I hope by tomorrow, if they update the final answer key, so they may update some dates tomorrow. They should do that at least.
And the results will be out within the month.
Definitely by the end of March, you'll definitely get the results.
Okay, thank you.
Anyone else?
Okay, hi, I'm Manvi.
Hi, Manvi.
I wanted to ask, when will the extempore round and practice start? Because I'm having a difficulty in structuring my flow of thought and making it coherent.
You have taken the course?
Yeah.
All right, we'll schedule your mocks. We'll have a session about it. We'll talk to Talha and we'll privately
We'll
converse
have
about it.
a couple of sessions and then we'll start, because just abruptly starting the extempore will not help. You need to practice, you need to know the structures and practice on your own and read at the same time. Then only having
Right.
extempore or the interview would be very helpful to you.
Right. Okay.
Hi, ma'am.
Hi.
My name is Rhea. So,
Hi, Rhea.
ma'am, I've also applied for this applied psychology course, but other than that, I've applied for the mental health course as well. So, if you could just brief us about that as well.
You won't become a therapist when you do your master's in social work and mental health. But when you do your master's in clinical psychology and counseling psychology, you would become a therapist. That's what the difference is essentially. The schools are different. The parent school, the social work one is in obviously the social work school, and the other one is in School of Human Ecology. So the way you are trained, the end goals of both the schools is difficult. You won't become, as I said, a therapist when you are chosen or when you get through the social work school. But that is also very good. You get to do a lot of advocacy, you get to do a lot of work on ground, a lot of policy making is done. You are trained how to act as a pressure group in the mental health sphere when you do the social work one.
And ma'am, what is like the extempore and the OPI for the mental health course?
Which one? It is going to be more or less the same for both of them. You need to know the disorders even for the pathology, even for the social work one, and then for the clinical and counseling one as well. So more or less it is going to be same only. It's just that in the social work one, you're going to be asked some more questions related to social work. For example, what is social work? Why do you want to go for not for the counseling one, and why do you want to go for social work school? And you'll be asked asked a lot of questions related to rights, freedoms, because that is what your arena is going to be when you work in the social work sphere. You'll be talking about rights of people, freedoms of people, bondages of people, mental health bills, mental health acts. So read that.
So, is it
Okay,
more
ma'am. Thank you.
research focused, the mental health course?
I'm sorry, I did not hear you.
Is it more research focused, the mental health course, in comparison to the counseling course, counseling plus clinical?
You're saying the social work course, right?
Yeah.
Research. See, when you go in TISS, you have to do a compulsory research, and that is there for everyone. It doesn't matter if you're in clinical or counseling or if you're in social work. Research is there for everyone. But as I told you, you won't be trained to become a therapist when you go to the social work school. Your work would be related to social work. How can you benefit uh, people who are suffering from mental problems, mental disorders, who are there in asylums? How are they being treated badly over there? Are they being kept in any bondages over there? What better policies can be used for people who are suffering from these things? What better changes can be there in institutional laws, in country laws? So that is what you will be trained with when you go to social work. Won't be trained as a therapist. All right. Does that answer your question? Do you get it?
Yes.
If you
yes.
don't, you can just talk to me personally about it.
Okay, thank you so much.
Next one.
Hi, ma'am. My name is Pranati.
Hi.
I have a question regarding like if I have applied for two courses and they are like completely from two different schools. And what if I clear both? Like I clear the cutoff for both the rounds. So will the extempore will be on based on both my cutoffs and will it go there, or will they choose the first preference, or like if I clear only for one and they will like
They are
consider
from,
asking questions from the other
Okay.
school.
so the courses which you have applied for are both from different schools, right?
Yeah, like one is
So
from
you'll
management and the other is from psychology.
So you'll have to give extempore and the interview separately for both of them.
Okay. And if I only clear for one, they will only consider asking me for that particular thing. They won't like
Yes.
question me
You will
about
be
the other
given
one.
the you'll be
Mhm.
given the course which is on higher priority order. So let's say you get qualified for both the courses. So the course with a higher priority will only be offered. You cannot opt for getting the second course. I hope you get my point. The
Yes.
higher priority course would be given to you.
But I think she's asking, I don't know. I think you're asking about if you just clear the TISSNET, then which one do you have to, if you have to give extempore and interview separately for both, right?
Yeah, like if I clear for
Uh-huh.
both, if I clear the cutoff for
yes.
both, so will they only offer me one course and I can choose, or is it like
Cutoff by, do you mean the final round if you clear, or just the TISSNET cutoff if you clear?
just the TISSNET cutoff?
So you'll have to give the extempore and interview separately for both of them.
Okay.
And if what Talha is saying is, if you finally clear both of them, then you'll be offered the course which you have for higher priority.
Okay. Thank you.
Hey, I'm Shivam here.
Hi, Shivam.
I had a query on other courses like HRM, Analytics, and ODCL. When will be the sessions conducted for it?
Talha will answer that. Talha, please.
We're here to just discuss about psychology. So we'll definitely put up some details very shortly about HRM and the other courses. So if you're there on our open group for updates for the OPI, we'll inform you over there.
Thanks. Thank you.
Anyone else? Any questions?
Hi, this is Srishti.
Hi, Shrishti.
So I've applied for applied psychology and I have a gap year. And so I'm also pursuing a course from IGNU. So it's a distance course, online course. It's in a different subject. So should I mention that in my interview at all? Or should I just leave it out completely?
If you are, I don't know, I haven't had
Okay, I'll
this
try to
chance
answer
before.
this. So are you just in your first year or your second year?
Sir, I'm in my second year right now.
So you'll be graduating in that particular degree by this year, is it?
Yes, I will. But I will not give the exam this year. So IGNU has this concept where you can give an exam later. And since my exam might clash with this interview or other
What is
entrance
that subject? What is that subject, if you can
test,
open up?
political science. Political science.
I would suggest you, we can talk in detail, but I would suggest you to avoid it. Because you just have a 1 year gap, so you can push anything over there rather than you want to divert your interview to something else, right?
That's what even I was thinking. They might ask you that you won't be able to give your 100% and you would be wasting one seat in the institution. So I also think that you should not mention that, as Talha said.
Okay, thank you. Also, I have another question, related question. So last year I took a gap because I was preparing for UPSC last year, and now this year I'm not preparing for that. So again, I shouldn't mention UPSC.
If you have any gap years, you would have to mention something, right?
Yeah.
If you have the column over there in DAF has columns if you have any gap year, and you would have to mention something in your gap year. There is no harm in mentioning UPSC. In fact, an institution like TISS takes it very positively if you are prepared for UPSC. They want people who are socially aware, so they won't mind that. It would be fine, I think.
Okay. Thank you.
So anyone else who has questions related to the preparation or anything related to psychology or mental health or global mental health? Because you'll have to speak up. There is no way we are looking at chat. I'm looking at it, but I think
So I have a doubt.
Yeah.
So I just checked the courses that you have given, like the clinical psychology one, and in that I found the abnormal psychology section. You have given the information according to DSM-4. I wanted to confirm that is it updated or I don't think it's updated. So how does that
Uh,
go?
Let me answer that, Talha. I know it's according to DSM-4, and currently, recently, DSM-6 has been launched. If you think so, they need to know if you know the basic criteria for DSM, and if you are pretty aware, you're aware basically with what is there in the DSM. If you know even for DSM-4, they won't mind that, and you can say, in my undergrad, I've studied from DSM-4, or whatever you. If you have in your undergrad studied from DSM-5 also, you can say that, but even DSM-4 they won't mind that, but you should know something, some DSM, some ICD criteria you should know. So we are working on that, but I don't think that should be a problem. They won't mind that. All you need to know is what new disorders have been added in DSM. For example, in DSM-6 this gaming disorder has been added, so you need to be aware with that, what a difference in the matrices has been there in DSM-4 and 5. So you need to be aware with those things. Otherwise, basic criteria, for example, if they ask you what is the, how do you classify someone, how do you know what are the symptoms for depression, so the basic things are more or less the same, so I don't think that should be a problem. Does that
I
answer
wanted
it?
to,
Mhm.
yeah. So, can we expect them to ask us the DSM criteria, as in we are expected to write word to word in our exams? So, can they also ask us to tell the DSM criteria for any disorder word to word?
uh, I don't think they want someone who knows word to word, but basic ideas you should have. For example, if they ask you, tell me the symptoms for depression, so you should be able to tell them that sudden or frequent weight loss or gain, feeling of being sad throughout the day, most of the days, feeling of repenting and learned helplessness, and all these things you should be able to answer. Basically, you don't need to answer word by word, but some disorders, for example depression, bipolar, schizophrenia, some learning disorders, a few phobias like agoraphobia, you should know, not word to word, but basic you should know. They will ask you. If you want, we can have a session on that. I can teach you some of the common disorders which are generally asked. That is also there in the course, by the way. But if you guys, all of you, really want a session on that, we can have that as well.
So,
Yes.
yes.
Ma'am, can you please share the details? Like, how can we contact you? You were talking about this disorders course that you would take
No,
right
I'm
now.
saying if all of you guys want a course, if at the end, when the interview is near, if all of you guys want to revise these disorders, we can have, I'm there on the group now. You can contact Talha, or I'm there on the psychology group, which is there. We can coordinate that later on. But first of all, you do all your basics. That is what is more important. Even if you don't tell them one disorder, they won't mind it as much. But if you don't tell them the difference between classical and operant conditioning, that would be a blunder. So do that first.
Hello, ma'am.
Hi.
I am Mohit Pratap.
Hi.
Your session was so enlightening and enthralling, ma'am. And
Thank you.
your august presence instills confidence in us that we can go through this
That's very
with
nice to
you
hear.
and sir.
Thank you. That's nice to hear.
Thank you, ma'am.
Thank you, Mohit.
Hello, sir.
Yes.
So my name is Shruti. I have a question regarding research. So I am currently in third year, and I have done my research project in semester one. So for mentioning that in DAF, do I have to publish a research paper now, or
You don't have
is
to
it
publish a
essential?
research paper. No, you don't have to publish a research paper. Just tell them whatever research you have done. Why do you need to publish a research? So you did your research in your graduation, right? So you must have made a dissertation or something out of it. Okay, isn't that?
Yes, ma'am.
Yeah, just mention I've done that. Be thorough with whatever you have done. Just that. You don't need to publish a research paper.
Okay,
Okay.
thank you, ma'am.
Ma'am, I also had a question. I'm Manvi again. Hi.
Hi.
So I did my research in qualitative analysis mostly, and I'm more thorough with qualitative research. I'm not very aware about the SPSS and the quantitative part. So would they ask me about quantitative research, or would they ask me more about SPSS or test analysis?
They won't ask you a lot about SPSS, etc., because you're being taught SPSS when you go to TISS, but they may ask you a difference between inferential and descriptive statistics, or what is standard deviation, what is mean deviation, very basic standard mean deviation definition, but mostly they will ask you what you have done. If you have done qualitative, they will ask you about it.
So they can ask me about different methods of qualitative analysis, like
Yes,
thematic analysis.
definitely they'll ask you.
Can you recommend a book or a source about this where I can study more about
I have one book, but otherwise, I won't suggest you one full book to go through that. Use YouTube videos. When I was there preparing for my interview and all, I did not have as much information and education which is there on YouTube today. Use YouTube for that.
Okay, thank you.
Anyone else?
Ma'am, there is a question on chat. If someone is not able to turn their microphone on, can I ask that question?
No, it's okay. I'll just see.
Okay.
Okay, so you're saying the question is, I have not chosen the new course of global mental health, but wish to know if there's a global scope in applied psychology as well. Say if focusing on research into specific mental disorders. Obviously, there is. Obviously, you can do research about anything you want to, any of your topic of interest. So yes, that is one school specifically focused on global mental health. You may have one paper in your course in applied and clinical psychology and global mental health. Earlier it was not there, but I don't know now if they have it. They might change the course curriculum, but anything you want to research on, you can research on. There is no limit to that. And someone has asked, how is life after psychology at TISS? You're looking at me right now. That's how life is. You can go to NGOs, you can go to schools as counselor, you can go to colleges as counselor, you can start your own private practice as a counselor, you can open your own clinic, as I said. There are a lot of plethora of options which you can go for. You can do MPhil, you can do PhD in psychology, you can become a lecturer, many things you can do. Placements are also there which happen. We have our own school placement cell and many organizations come. Direct placements are there. All right, I don't think any other question is there. If anyone else wants.
So, like, would they ask us about like what extracurricular we have done? Or like
Not really, but they may ask you about your hobbies. You should know about your hobbies. Everyone must know. This is also one golden rule of psychology that you should know. So let me explain it to you this way. Being a therapist, you have to take on a lot of information from people. Everyone comes and tells you, oh, I'm going through this, I'm going through that. So it becomes very heavy. So we always have therapist advice. Please turn off your mic. Whoever is not speaking, please turn off your mic. So as therapists, we are always advised to take some time off, engage in any activity which we like to do, which we enjoy doing. So everyone must have something which they like to do in their free time. So in that perspective, they may ask you something, but even if you don't have any particular hobby, you can just say, I just like sitting with myself. I just like sitting idle, but I do like to spend time with myself. That's what I do in my free time. You can say that.
and like, is it compulsory to have a research paper?
No, not at all. If you have done research in psychology, you tell them I have. If you haven't, no issue.
Hello, ma'am. Shubham Dharmal.
Hi.
Ma'am, I'm completed my graduation in 2019, and I have 3 years gap. So this is the problem. And how can I speak about the interviews? And one thing is I'm the pandemic season. I complete the internship, the 14 months. That internship gives the 14-month experience. So how can I apply for this?
You apply for this, there is no problem. They won't have any issue. And if you have done internship for 14 months, I think that is very positive. Use that in your advantage. So when you enroll with the course, we'll tell you how you can write about that and how you can use that for your advantage. See, as I told you, it doesn't matter if you have gap years. You should just be very, very thorough with the knowledge of psychology. That's it. That's what they're expecting.
Okay, and the fear is I can't speak about the every year, every 3 years. I complete. I qualify the net, but doesn't qualify the interviews. So what can I do for this?
Yes, you
Okay,
enroll
so
with the
I'll
course
try
and
to, if I can intervene.
yes, please tell us.
Yes. So Shubham, so it's a point of introspection ki, for whatever reason you are able to qualify for TISSNET. Maybe you prepare for TISSNET, or maybe you are preparing for some other exams and you find qualifying TISSNET is easy. But you'll have to ask a few very direct questions, an in-depth question to yourself ki, how much have you really prepared for the interview? Because TISS is giving a weightage of 50% on basis of interview, because they take it very seriously. That is the reason. But aspirants do not get that fact for that matter. So you tell me कि आपने हर साल 2 बार शायद आप बताए, तो आपने इंटरव्यू के लिए कितना मेहनत किया है, वो चीज आपको अपने आप को ऑनेस्टली बताना पड़ेगा. क्या आपको लगता है कि जितनी सफिशिएंट या मिनिमम रिक्वायर्ड एफर्ट लेनी चाहिए थी, क्या आपने लिया है? अगर लिया है तो फिर आगे कुछ बात होगी, अगर नहीं लिया है तो फिर उस पे ही बात होगी कि लेना चाहिए, कैसे लेना चाहिए एंड ऑल. अगर मतलब दिस इज व्हाट यू हैव टू आंसर, एंड इट्स ओके इफ यू कैन शेयर दैट विद अस.
Okay, sir.
ओके, मतलब यू डोंट हैव टू.
नहीं सर, एक्चुअली मैं पेपर तो कर पाता हूँ, लेकिन जब इंटरव्यू का समय रहता है तो कॉन्फिडेंस लो हो जाता है, मैं बोल नहीं पाता उस वक्त.
नहीं, प्रिपरेशन का क्या मेथोडोलॉजी रहता है? कुछ तो एक अप्रोच लेते होगे, कुछ तो करते होगे. यू मस्ट हैव गॉन थ्रू द बेसिक्स, कुछ टेक्स्ट भी पढ़ते होगे, राइट?
न्यूज़पेपर, एनसीईआरटी वगैरह.
कुछ मॉक इंटरव्यूज लिया क्या, मतलब कोई प्रोफेशनल गाइडेंस वगैरह लिया क्या? या फिर एक्सटेम्पोरे के लिए, लेट्स से एक्सटेम्पोरे तो अब 2 साल से, ये तीसरा साल होगा जब एक्सटेम्पोरे आया है. सो क्या एक्सटेम्पोरे के लिए यू हैव tried speaking, recorded yourself, watch your own videos? ऐसे कितने टॉपिक पे आपने एक्सटेम्पोरे के लिए मेहनत किया? What we suggest to students कि ऐसे कम से कम 50 टॉपिक होने चाहिए जिस पे आपने बोला हो, and you record yourself and then you watch yourself. I know it's slightly awkward, थोड़ा सा uncomfortable होता है खुद को ऐसा वीडियो बनाकर सुनने में या देखने में, but did you do that?
No sir, I can't this.
I can't तो नहीं होता है, मतलब
I didn't this. I will manage this.
तो वो एक एफर्ट लेना पड़ेगा थोड़ा सा, you know, थोड़ा सा पेनफुल होता है, but there are many students here, I don't know, they have also applied for the other courses as well. So ये थोड़ा पेनफुल इनिशियली में लगता है यार, वो लिखना भी हो, because we suggest students कि अगर आप सही से कोहेरेंटली कनेक्ट नहीं कर पा रहे हो जो भी थॉट्स आ रहे हैं, तो राइट. सो वो राइटिंग, वीडियो बनाना, अपने वीडियो को सुनना, वो इनिशियली 1 वीक 10 दिन में दैट्स अ पेनफुल थिंग दैट यू हैव टू गो थ्रू. बट एक बार जब आप वो कंफर्ट को रीच कर लेते हो ना, तो इट बिकम्स वेरी इजी. एंड ट्रस्ट मी, you'll have to go through that process if you really want to get through that. अगर टेस्ट अपने इंटरव्यू को सीरियसली ले रहा है तो आपको भी टू एन एक्सटेंट सीरियसली लेना पड़ेगा. बहुत लोगों के पास कुछ एडेड एडवांटेज है. somebody is good at speaking, they know their basics, तो you will have to look at कि आपकी क्या एडवांटेज हैं या डिसएडवांटेज हैं in this preparation for the interview, and then accordingly you'll have to make your own effort.
Okay sir, and is it the compulsory speaking in English?
मतलब compulsory? Yes, okay.
Yes, no, Talha, you please answer. Hello, Talha.
Yes, you were answering, Tanishka.
No, Talha, you answer.
So there are few courses जहाँ पे वो appreciate और वो allow कर देते हैं different language में बोलने के लिए, majorly हिंदी, ठीक है. if panel में कोई आपके original dialect या language नहीं पता है तो specifically for courses like social work and all. But we have seen with the experience of the aspirants कि कुछ courses में they do not prefer doing it. Specifically for the courses of School of Management Studies, psychology का क्योंकि कभी ऐसा instance नहीं रहा है कि somebody wanted to speak in other language or Hindi or English. But I believe कि अगर आप बोलना चाहते हो, then you can seek permission and majorly they allow.
Thank you, sir.
Okay.
And
Okay, thank you.
also, before anyone asking any other question, there is this one confusion which goes around that what you should wear for the interview. So when I was preparing for this thing, my seniors told me you should wear Indian. Okay, you go wearing Indian because it is a social science institution. Nothing like that. There are some schools like management studies where you have to be dressed in Western formals, but for School of Human Ecology and for social work, both Western formals and Indian formals are fine. But if you're a male, I would suggest don't wear Indian formals, wear Western formals only. But if you're a female, you can wear anything, Western formals or Indian formals.
Thank you, ma'am.
Also, so a mix of Hindi and English both works, right? Like it does not have to be explicitly in English all the time. Purely.
It works. But what I would suggest is you match the language of the panelists. If they ask you a question in English, you answer in English. If they're asking you in Hindi, that is the best thing to do. I think Talha would agree with me on that, right, Talha?
Definitely.
Yes, I think Kashish, you want to ask a question? You had raised your hand.
Yeah, I just did.
Please ask.
I just asked it.
Okay, you only asked. Yeah.
Okay, I think we have taken sufficient question. I hope the session was helpful, guys. And those already enrolled will have a few psychology sessions before we start our extempore practice, and we'll start sharing more content specific to the current affairs that you should read with respect to psychology, right? So that is the part, that everyday effort that we'll go through now. And this was the first session. I hope you got a better idea about the preparation, and of course sufficient questions were also taken up. So guys, we'll have it would be really good if you can just give your feedback on the group. We'll just post that, and that's all. If anything else, we're already on the group. You can keep asking your doubts and query on the group. We are always available to help you with it. Okay.
All right, guys, keep reading. You're just there. You're almost there. Keep reading. Don't give up at this stage. You can do it. Just read as much as you can. Bye, everyone.